Bardella is a political strategist, also a former spokesman for Breitbart. He also runs quite the country music website as well. Kurt, I want to read another snippet here from the interview with the Times. He concerns me. This is Senator Corker on the President of the United States. He concerns me. He would have to concern anyone who cares about our nation. Also, I know for a fact that every single day at the White House, it's a situation of trying to contain him. I don't know why the president tweets out the things that are not true. You know he does it. Everyone knows he does it, but he does. What's going to be the reaction, Kurt, from Corker's fellow Republicans in the upper chamber? Because I can tell you, no one's beating down the door here at MSNBC to go on TV and talk about it.
Well, they are thankful that they're not in Washington this week, and they're going to hope that by the time they return, something else will have captivated everyone's attention, and they won't have to answer questions about this. I think the reality is Trump loves nothing more than when he's in a fight. It doesn't matter who it's against, whether it's a Democrat, Republican, the media. He is never more comfortable than when he has an adversary. And I think in seeing how his agenda hasn't moved, how Obamacare is still the law of the land, how tax reform is stalled, how he's having this situation with the border wall, immigration, and DACA, I think that he's setting himself up so that he can say, it's not my fault, it's the Republicans' fault, and we need to make big changes in the next election to bring the Republicans that I need into office so that they'll advance the agenda that he ran on. A lot of these Republicans in the Senate, they don't want to speak up because they're going to face a lot of pressure from their right, a lot of primary. Steve Bannon is ratcheting it up in an effort to take on every single senator running for re-election next year. They don't want to get in the middle of that, so you know, they're caught between a rock and a hard place because they're either going to have to alienate their base and face potential political consequences or speak out against the sitting president. Those are not good options if you're a sitting senator.
Vice President Pence leaving the Colts-49ers game after several 49ers kneeled. The Vice President said that he left because the action, quote, disrespects soldiers. President Trump tweeting that before the game, the two had talked about doing that. Meanwhile, our guy on the ground there, Vaughn Hilliard, one of our producers traveling with the Vice President, said, quote, a staffer told the pool that the Vice President may depart the game early, did not indicate how early. President Trump says the trip was long planned. We should know the NFL schedule is long planned as well. Was this not political grandstanding, Kurt?
Of course it was political grandstanding. My gosh, they planned this out. It's an egregious waste of taxpayer dollars, by the way, to fly out the vice president on his plane, all the security that goes in with taking the vice president to an event like that just so he can leave early and make a political statement. And again, remember, this also comes after a week in which President Trump's been being debated about whether he's a moron or not by his own cabinet. And every time that something like that happens in the news cycle, he picks this culture war. And in this case, he goes right back to what worked for him when he tried to distract away from the Alabama Senate race. He went right back to the NFL. He thinks this plays well with his base. It probably does, and that's the political calculus, that as there's nothing going on the legislative front, he's not being successful, so he needs to throw them some type of red meat to show that he's standing up for the values that he thinks that they want him to be fighting for, and that's why he's doing this.
Kurt, Alan, Sahil, thanks to all of you for being with me on a Monday afternoon.